So, Raph, let's start by talking about the big news. Oh, when I say the big, I mean most recent news. Because
so many options to choose
from. 2 pieces today. And that's just after 2 o'clock today, we learned that Provincial Health Minister Christian Dubé is calling it quits. He's quitting, walking away, resigning.
He's out. He's resigning from cabinet. He's going to be from now on until the end of his term. He's going to be sitting at the National Assembly as an independent MNA. Leaving the justification here, of course, it's all about Bill 2. And as we knew for quite a while that if ever Bill 2 was to be scrapped by the Legault government in its negotiations with the doctors, Dubé would probably be out because it was really something he defended strongly. He spent a lot of time on with this whole crisis with the doctors, and at some point he was sidelined by François Legault in the latest rounds of negotiations with the doctors, where they came to an agreement to basically scrap Bill 2 or at least amend it thoroughly when the session resumes after the holidays, so that they can find common ground and find an agreement with doctors to, yes, ensure more patients were taken care of within the the public healthcare system, but at the same time getting rid of everything that was irritating to doctors in Bill 2. So he's out. He says he doesn't see himself leading the process of reviewing Bill 2 when the session resumes this winter.
Is this a slap in the face to François Legault or not?
Well, I mean, the question, very good question, Aaron, and I think had he remained as a backbencher for the CAQ, that would have shown he still adheres to this party. But him choosing to go and leave as an independent is something else. And to me, if you read between the lines, it's yes, another criticism. It's another big loss. You know, Dubé was among the pillars of that party when they were first elected, along with Leonie Carmance. So these are 2 very heavy ministers that have left the government in the past few weeks and months.
Seems to me a pretty clear indication of he's lost faith in François Legault.
He's lost faith in the CAQ. If he's no longer a member of the caucus, it's because he no longer wants to have anything to do with the party. So yes, it's another tile for François Legault. Yeah. Another very bad news just as we are heading towards the holidays. And as we know, what's happening when you have bad news during the holidays, everybody talks about it at home. Yeah. You have family gatherings, you have Christmas parties, and everybody it's just reinforcing the perception that the premier is fatigued, that the CAQ is going nowhere as a party, as a government. And I think that, frankly, we know that François Legault, as he said, went for a walk in the snow recently, referring to the walk in the snow of Pierre Trudeau back in the days. And he came to the conclusion that he had to remain as premier and leader of the CAQ. I think this is yet again another reason for François Legault, maybe during the holidays, to take time to go back, have another walk, and think twice about it.
So I would ask you then, given that, your bet, yes, no, step away. Does Christian Dubé make that walk in the snow now another one necessary for him, do you think?
It's going to be necessary for him at some point, because if you look at it, even with everything that happened with the Liberals, it doesn't really benefit the CAQ. In fact, Léger poll yesterday showed that actually the Quebec Conservatives are the one who are benefiting the most from that downfall of the Liberals. So the PQ's losing some ground because of recent declarations from Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon about the cultural industry. The Liberals are going nowhere, of course, because they've just lost their leader. And despite all that, it's not benefiting the CAQ. The voters are not going back to the CAQ at the moment, despite everything. So do you really want to see your party die in the next election because you're clinging as leader? Or do you want to maybe let somebody else take over and stand a chance at saving at least something of your party? Yeah. So it's something, François Legault established the CAQ 13 years ago to offer Quebecers a third way, and that third way might be dying if he remains.
Let me move on to the story that we thought would be the only story today politically in Quebec. That's Pablo Rodriguez, who called this press conference this morning, even though we found out yesterday that he told the caucus he would be stepping down. We waited for the press conference this morning, and over the course of 12 and a half minutes, he basically said not a whole lot of anything other than, and I remember saying this at the beginning when we first started after 2, 3, 4 days of this, that he was a distraction to the party. Yeah. It was apparent then. He cited it today as the reason he quit. or left.
He acknowledged that he had become a distraction, and that had been going on for almost 5 weeks now, so he had no other choice but to leave, indeed. But I think what's interesting here is that he mentioned also not just the interest of the party, but also the interest of the country. He acknowledged that by becoming this distraction, he would be basically serving the PQ a majority on the silver plate.
Yeah.
And the PQ would have been using that majority to launch a third referendum on Quebec independence, and in the end was a matter of national unity in the eyes of Pablo Rodriguez. So I think for the first time in 5 weeks from Pablo Rodriguez today, we have seen something that we had not seen a lot since the beginning of that crisis. That means leadership, it means clarity, and it's also about statesmanship. I think he looked today like a real leader. He sacrificed himself, and it's the only thing he had to do at this point. But he sacrificed himself for his party and his country. And I think François Legault, we were talking about François Legault earlier, he should take notes here because that's an example to follow. If you're becoming a burden to your own party, you should learn lessons from it.
Did you find it odd that he chose not to take questions today, just walked right out of that press conference?
I mean, why would he take questions at this point?
Taking questions all along, right up until now.
Yeah, because he was managing a crisis and wanted to show he's transparent. But at this point, I think there's also, he's probably sour towards the media, but because he probably holds some media responsible for what happened to him. So I understand why he didn't want to take questions. He did this declaration to put it behind him, defend his reputation, and then it's going to be up to somebody else to take over. But the task that's awaiting for the next leader of that party is humongous.
Well, let's talk about that. So I had someone I was talking to today suggesting that we already know Carl Blackburn has been poking around. Mm-hmm. We also have found out that Charles Milliard, who issued a statement yesterday, who finished runner-up to Pablo Rodriguez in the race.
Very close. Very
interested, apparently, in getting back. Are those your two main combatants, do you think?
Well, we hear other names. We hear the name also of Marc Tanguay, so who was the interim leader for a long time when Dominique Anglade left the leadership of the Liberals. We hear also that members are courting federal MPs and ministers like Mélanie Joly, who was here earlier today.
Yeah, she's not running.
No, she's not running. Of course, who would be interested in leaving your safety as a minister on the federal stage to go and try and save the Liberal Party on the provincial side? Like, I understand that. And also, I think for the Liberal members, the savior, you've tried it 6 months ago. The savior won't come from Ottawa this time. So, and I really think that they need to choose someone who doesn't have a political background, who's as much as possible an outsider, someone who has experience in executive positions, yes, but someone who doesn't have a baggage. And in that sense, I think that Milliard should be the best suited candidate at this point, because he does, Blackburn is closely associated to Jean Charest. So he was an M&A under Jean Charest. He was also the Director General of the Quebec Liberal Party under Jean Charest. So he has a past, whereas Milliard doesn't have that. He's a fresh face, and that's what exactly the Liberals need at the moment. It's a fresh face to renew the party, to make sure that there's no doubts about their ethics and integrity, and somebody who's going to be able to clean up the mess that Pablo Rodriguez left within that party, and also, in the end, change the culture. Because what we have seen in the past few weeks with all those scandals, I'm pretty sure Rodriguez was never directly involved in everything that happened. The brownies, the $500 cash envelopes. He was not really aware of it, but there's clearly a culture of, quote, flang-flang within that party, probably at the lower levels, people who have been there for a long time and who, like Emmanuel Cabral, think that if it's happening in your home, you can do whatever you want. Well, that's not how it works. We have laws in Quebec, and you have to respect them, and you have to ensure that the culture within that party changes, and that the people who are volunteers for your campaigns or people that do fundraising for your campaigns have all the tools they need to ensure that they respect the laws in Quebec.
Got to make sure that happens. I imagine whoever's going to take over realizes that right out of the outset. You can afford no more missteps.
Oh yeah, and
forward, so.
in just 9 months until the next election, if ever the election is held in October, it could be earlier. Yeah. You still have to recruit star candidates. You have to organize fundraising events, and you have to rebuild the reputation of your party. It's not going to be a walk in the park, for sure. It's
going to be an uphill battle for sure. Raph, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
My pleasure, Aaron.
The biggest songs in the world. You've heard them countless times. Now, learn the details of how they came to be. Join Ruby Carr for Encore, the stories behind the songs you love. New interviews and newly unearthed archive footage make for a fascinating weekly deep dive. Stream Encore, the stories behind the songs you love on iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts.